On this day in 1974, Celtic met Atletico Madrid at Celtic Park in the first leg of the European Cup semi-finals. Season 1973-74 turned out to be the last time Celtic had a genuine chance of winning the European Cup, and Atletico Madrid's approach to both legs in different ways showed the fear facing Celtic held for them. Celtic were in confident mood before the match, Ian Archer quoting Jock Stein in the Glasgow Herald of the 10th of April. "I don't mean it disrespectfully, but we have played better sides at Parkhead in the past, and we never worried about them. So why should we start now? What matters is what my team does, rather than the men who oppose them." Tellingly, Stein went on, "We just want a game without too many stoppages so that we can build up a momentum. Technically, the Spaniards may be in advance of British teams, but we score with stamina and fitness and general aggression. We want to knock the legs off them, but not physically, just run them out." There was already a sense of unease before the match about Atletico's potential for thuggery, with the knowledge that their manager, Juan Carlos Lorenzo, had been in charge of the Argentina side that had gone out of the 1966 World Cup at the quarter-final stage in a violent confrontation with England, after which Alf Ramsey had branded them animals. They had also recently signed left-back Ruben Diaz from Racing Club, who had played against Celtic in the World Club Championship in 1967. He was one of 5 Argentinians in the Atletico side. Jock Stein was surely using diplomatic language when he told Archer the day before, "There was nothing about the Atletico play in the match we both saw last week to cause any concern, was there? The Spaniards looked disciplined and did not panic. That's important, for it's panic that makes games go astray." Celtic were without George Connolly, who broke his ankle in the quarter-final win over Basel, an injury that prevented him taking his place in the Scotland squad for the 1974 World Cup in West Germany. Danny McGrain was fit again after injury, but wasn't risked from the start, but was named as a substitute. In front of an expectant 75,000 crowd, Celtic lined up Conaghan, Hay, Brogan, Murray, McNeil, McCluskey, Johnston, Hood, Deans, Callaghan, Dalglish. Subs, Hunter, McGrain, Lennox, Wilson. There wasn't much football played that night, with Atletico turning in a display of sheer football thuggery from the very start. Things might have turned out very differently if a 10th minute Kenny Dalglish goal had not been disallowed on the say-so of the far side linesman. Atletico were caught out by a high ball into the box, and after Harry Hood rounded the keeper from right on the byline, he passed to Dalglish to bundle it home. The linesman raised his flag to indicate the ball had run out of play before Hood crossed, but it was a very contentious decision. As early as the 7th minute, the Atletico forward Ayala was booked for trying to snatch the ball out of Dennis Conaghan's hands, and 60 seconds later, old foe Diaz was booked for a cynical kick at Jimmy Johnston. Ian Archer wrote in the Glasgow Herald of the 11th of April 1974, "The little winger was the most obvious target, and before half-time he was pulled to the floor every time he neared the penalty area. But if Babakin took no notice, he was only biding his time." The first booking of the second half should really have been a straight red, and was far worse than the straight red that referee Babakin did flash late in the game. On 53 minutes, Johnston received a short free kick on the left wing and swerved between 2 defenders after both blatantly kicked his shins. As he went past them, Paraguayan defender Domingo Benegas came careering in, and his flying boot caught Jinky between the legs. Ayala was the first player red-carded, and this time Johnston wasn't the target. Ian Archer reported, "After 62 minutes, a controversial match became sensational. Ayala fouled Hay badly from behind. His earlier booking stood against him, and so he had to go. This was a shameful ending to a match for one of Europe's newest young stars, and one who, in flashes, had shown Parkhead such skill." The second red card was shown when Johnston wrong-footed Diaz, and as he went past him, the Argentinian swung a boot into his knee. At this point, Atletico made 2 substitutions, Ian Archer writing, "Now there was 9, and Lorenzo craftily put on 2 substitutes, for they were in less danger of dismissal than their colleagues who had incurred displeasure from the start." Seven minutes from time, one of the substitutes, Piqué, was shown a straight red. He had cleared the ball out of defence with Johnston in close proximity, and as the ball sailed downfield, kicked him in the shin, then rolled around as if he'd been hurt. The referee ordered him to his feet and sent him straight off. In the meantime, goalkeeper Reina had made good saves from Tom Callaghan with a powerful left foot shot from 25 yards and a flashing header from Kenny Dalglish. Dalglish, Hood and Johnston had also failed to hit the target with headers from decent positions, but that was as close as Celtic came to breaking through. The climax of the evening of thuggery came at the final whistle, the Atletico players celebrating the goalless draw as if they'd won the tournament, substitutes and coaching staff pouring onto the pitch to join them. That's when all hell broke loose. James Sanderson wrote in the Daily Mirror of the 11th of April 1974, "As Celtic winger Jimmy Johnston stepped onto the track from the field, he was viciously smashed in the stomach by the powerful dark-skinned Eusebio, not the famous Portuguese star. At once there was a maelstrom of fists and boots as Spanish players attacked Celtic. The bewildered Scots gathered around Johnston, semi-conscious on the ground, and fought off the Spaniards while police rushed in, watched by 73,000 horror-stricken fans." As the players made their way through the tunnel to the dressing room, the fighting continued. Davy Hay remembered in his biography, The Quiet Assassin, written with Alex Gordon, "I decided to exact some retribution for my wee pal. I got involved, for the want of a better word, with a couple of their players, and punches were thrown. I could hear one of them squealing, and by the time I reached the dressing room, I had a clump of someone's hair in my fist. I wonder how that got there." Atletico comically tried to blame the referee for the mayhem they caused, James Sanderson writing, "Madrid officials later apologised to Celtic, but Atletico president Vincent Calderon said, 'It was all due to the crazy refereeing decisions.'" To date, Celtic have never reached this stage of the competition again, and the team of thugs sent out by Atletico, who would not be seen in the return leg as their sole purpose was fulfilled in Glasgow, went a long way to preventing them reaching a third final in 8 years. Ian Archer wrote in the Glasgow Herald, "Atletico Madrid dishonoured Spain last night and disgraced the proud traditions of the European Cup. They should neither be allowed back into Scotland nor given entry to this tournament again. UEFA should act today and award this semi-final to Celtic, for they were the victims disciplined enough not to retaliate. They were the blameless ones. As the floodlights dim, one's mind reels at this disgraceful semi-final."